Hello everyone, welcome to ShuttleTales. I'm your host Satya. I'm here with another amazing guest, Danny Pham. He's been coaching badminton over a decade now. He held several badminton positions throughout his career. He's been a head coach for Forest Lawn High School and Chestermere High School. He was a co-founder and also the president of Mount Royal Badminton Club. He's also an athletic therapist. Let me welcome you, Danny Pham. Hey Danny, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So how's the coaching coming along?
It's been great. It's near the end of the competition season now, so it's a little stressful, but yeah, always enjoy it.
They still enjoy coaching?
Yes, I mostly enjoy coaching.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's like the ups and downs of coaching, but for the most part, I love it. So.
Okay, this is the one thing. Okay, coaching part, I get. But what about athletic therapist? Like what made you want to study or do athletic therapist?
Yeah, so when I was younger and I was competing in badminton, in junior badminton, I was like riddled with injuries. Like I had like knee problems, ankle problems, like you name it. Everyone knows me, like knows about my shoulder injury. And so I mostly felt pretty like misunderstood by healthcare professionals. And so I kind of made it my mission to become an athletic therapist so that I could cater to the badminton community and just overall help athletes out when they get injured. So yeah.
Interesting. Like what did that athletic therapist say? Like is it like something has to do with like playing too much, or is it just or something like?
So athletic therapists are healthcare professionals.
Yeah.
Basically, they specialize in musculoskeletal injuries.
Okay.
So muscle, bone, joints.
Yeah.
Whether it's like chronic or traumatic injuries.
Okay.
They deal with injuries from like when they first happen, so like the first aid stuff, all the way to bringing, say, an athlete or just can even be a non-athlete, get back to optimal performance.
Interesting. Actually, this is the act. I know the physiotherapy and like massage therapy, but that's the first thing that like I wanted to know. Like, okay, what is athletic therapist? Like, then I was like, okay. Then I was like, I wanted to ask you that. So, yeah, that is actually like, is it because you had your injury and you wanted to prevent for your like future, or is it just that curiosity and passion that you want to study more into the athletic therapist?
Yeah, it's mostly like the curiosity, like having had to struggle through injury. I wanted to help those that may be kind of lost with injuries, because I remember just wanting to get better, but not knowing how, and feeling like, the doctors that I went to and stuff couldn't really understand like the demands of badminton. And so they couldn't really help me back to my optimal function.
Nowadays, that's the one hot topic. Like most athletes, like including like badminton, they have several injuries. And my like tournament and playing and all that stuff, I had come across one of my friends getting injured, like his ankle when he jump smashed in a tournament, and he landed on a like twisted his ankle. Then he was out for like 6 months. And like in a very recent, like from Edmonton, I know a player who is also had that injuries. Like I feel like it's getting, I'm not sure if it's like the tournament style that people are just going too into it or not. But at the same time, like I think having, like you said, like getting into like understanding about your bloody therapist or your injuries and everything, that's actually helps for most players. So, okay, what age did you get into badminton? Like, were you like young or?
No, I had a later start than kids nowadays, I guess. I started when I was 13, and I just loved badminton in like PE class.
Okay.
So I went to like my local leisure center, Village Square Leisure Center.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people know it as LC.
Okay.
And that's where I started my badminton journey.
Like, is it like, did you try any other sports or just badminton?
Yeah, before badminton, and I guess like a little bit of overlap. I did martial arts for like 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, since I was like 5 years old or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of martial arts?
I did taekwondo, Muay Thai, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Mostly taekwondo.
That's really nice, actually. Maybe that's the reflex you got into badminton.
Oh yeah, I think that like martial arts are a great way to like just build your foundation as an athlete. Then you can like branch out to other sports and yeah.
It's okay. What made you transition to coach?
It kind of naturally happened, to be honest. Like when I was in the high school team, I was simultaneously like playing on the team while coaching the team, and so I just always enjoyed like teaching people and helping them, I guess, reach their goals, or just helping others out through my own like experiences or knowledge or whatever. So yeah.
This is the one thing where like I can say like anyone can play, like just the one straight up thing, like anyone could play or anything, but coaching side, man, I don't think not a lot of people can be a coaches. This is a one straight. And that's the one thing that I like about you, by knowing like from other people or through the like badminton community or anything, you had that coaching style in you. Not like it takes a lot of patience. Even for me to like help some of the friends that I know, man, it just drives me nuts. Like I just can't, like, okay, it's like as a player you expect, okay, why don't you get it? But as a coach, you need to have that like patience and like gotta be, and you train kids as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're mostly like teenagers.
Yeah. Those are, and they will be like, have you ever had like any encounter where you try to explain to them and they were like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
Situations.
yeah. Do I have a surprise for you? I actually don't have very good patience, like at all, as a coach. I'm pretty fiery, and my standards are like super high. So when it's obviously like a me problem, but when a kid doesn't get it, sometimes I do get pretty frustrated. But that's just part of being like a coach. I mean, for the most part, like even when I do get frustrated, I can like think about, okay, how can I explain it a different way? How can I design a drill so that it can like help them understand it? So yeah.
I think that is something that that is that is the make a difference, like coach. For example, like you said, you developing that drill and trying to understand it. I feel like that's where the line is for like most players to coaches, because if I know some way how to do it, and I don't think I want to like spend extra time, have that patience to like help it some way that they can understand. Like no, it's a definitely like different path for like a lot of players. So that's why I respect like whoever the coaches are. Like it's a definitely difficult. Or players, yes, we can work, and as I said, like a coach can be like tell you this, and you could just do it. But it's so hard to come up with that kind of understanding the players and composing a drill related to them. So wish I was back actually.
Thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so what is something that you learned? I know you are part of the Gal Badminton Club, right? And you must have worked with Olympian Grace Gal.
Yes.
So how does that feel, and what are the things that you learned from her?
Um, Boy, what have I not learned from her? Like, I started at Gal Badminton when I was 19 years old.
Wow.
Um, and so it's been, what, like 7 years now?
Nice.
8 years? Yeah. And so she's taught me everything from patience. Like, if we're talking patience, she has the best patience I've seen in my life. Yeah. And she has a way of explaining things that are so digestible to literally like anybody. She can explain to a 5-year-old as effectively as a grown adult. So her communication skills are like super effective. And then like when it comes to her training methods, she is so methodical and strategic about it. Like for example, right? Like if you're going like to training and your coach gets you to just practice net shots.
Yes.
It's like you're just practicing your net shot. Yeah. But she can like design a drill that focuses on like the strategic aspect plus the fitness aspect plus the footwork aspect plus actually hitting the net shot. So she's hitting like multiple things at once with just one drill.
Wow.
So
I think that is the thing. Like I know like some of the times when you practice a drill, even personally when I try to do, I just focus on just one drill. Like okay, net shots, net shot, net shot. But like yeah, that is actually a different style of pushing, I would say. Oh, this is the first time actually for me hearing that, but
Yeah, yeah. Well, with how competitive the scene is now, like you have to find ways to be like as efficient as possible with everything that you do. So it's tough.
I think the style of the game has actually changed quite a lot compared to like previous. Like now it's more getting more brutal force, highest smash, strong smashes. Yeah, that's the difference out sport. So, but in your opinion or in your scene, like how is the badminton in Calgary like? Like, have you seen since the time you started, right? Versus how you see now the players or groups or what's happening? Like, what do you think? Is it has changed much or
In terms of just like the competitive player,
comparative, or it's just more people coming into the sport?
oh yeah, like when I first started, there were no badminton clubs. The only one I remembered was like Sunridge Badminton Center.
Oh yeah,
But the majority of people just played like in their school teams, like at leisure centers. And now there's like, my goodness, like a club opening up every couple years. The like competitive scene is so popular now. Like tournaments before, you could sign up whenever you want and you'd be okay. But with junior tournaments, they can fill up in like 5 minutes.
yeah. Feel like the junior tournaments in Alberta are like so many, or even in general in Canada, there are way so many, and it's a lot of potential and like that's something I like here, like the sport in Canada for badminton for juniors mainly. Yeah, you have like so many tournaments, so that should keep you so busy for quite some time.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Okay, so what is the most challenging aspect of badminton coaching, other than being patient? I know you already mentioned patience. That no, like you have to pick something that is challenging for you as a badminton coach.
Yeah. Like I said, like the competitive aspect of it is so tough. It's like your standards just have to always increase no matter what. So a kid could be improving as fast as you've ever seen. But I could bet that like a kid from another club or from another team is improving just as fast, if not better. So like just the mental challenge of like how do I develop this player in the most efficient but not like rushed way, like effective way that's like has longevity, that's like super difficult. Really, really hard. So like any edge you can get as a coach, whether it's your knowledge, your teaching methods, like every single bit of it counts.
Are you gonna share some of your coaching secrets here?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
Okay, so how do you overcome those like the the aspect of your the issue? Like you're trying to come out. How do you learn new skills or techniques, or how you plan it? How do you do that?
Yeah, it's a combination of things. I have a pretty unique background in that my competition experience isn't as extensive as, say, my coworkers. Like, obviously, I work with Grace, I work with Imran, who competes internationally. A bunch of the other coaches compete internationally or have competed at a very high level in the past. My background is more in like my education. So I studied physical literacy as my undergraduate degree. So you can just think of it as like kinesiology. And so to stay as relevant as I can as a coach, I use that knowledge. And so I'm very scientific about my coaching methods, teaching methods. I learn from my coworkers as much as I can. Like they're going out there getting experience. I'm standing right beside them, so I may as well just ask them, learn from them as much as I can. And tournaments are huge. Yeah, because then you can see like how kids are developing generally, maybe from other clubs. Um, I can use them as like checkpoints for my students to see like, okay, are they meeting, the standards they need to meet or the results they need to meet?
Nice. That must be like so much work behind the screen, man. Like as a like player, like I don't see that much coach doing. Like all I can see when I come onto the drills and coaches like do this drill 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and I'm like, I hate this coach. Why is it like making me run around the court, do this, do that? But yeah, I now understand like how much work you have to put as a coach to yeah come up with those drills and technical skills and
Yeah, honestly, to anybody who has trained badminton before, it's like, oh, why the heck are we doing this drill? For any coach that cares about their job, I can promise to you that they thought about the design of that training session for a very long time.
To be honest, that's actually really nice to actually now knowing that badminton coaches work way harder than a player, physically plus mentally, which is amazing. So I know now you've been a coach for quite a long time.
Mhm.
So as a coach's perspective, what are some of the challenges you face, not with the students, with any other aspects of your coaching style? Like could be, I'm not sure, like how's the like tournaments, like what other challenges you have faced as a coach for yourself?
Um, I mean, with how much like badminton is exploding, like the logistical kind of aspect of it is really tough. It's like, okay, we have this huge pool of kids that want to join high performance, but we only have 12 courts. You know, like for my team, I might only have 2 or 3 courts. And so, like, how we deal with a lack of resources versus the explosion of demand, like, that's pretty tough, I would say. I think that having a more collaborative relationship with parents, I wouldn't say it's tough, but it's a challenge, right? With more kids, there's more differing, I guess, ideas of what good training looks like to parents and their kids. And so just making sure everyone's on the same page and that they understand or on board and you can sell like your coaching to them, that's tough as well.
I have this one other question regarding the parents that I know you brought it up. Like, have you ever had a throwback from a parent? Hey, you're making my kid work so hard. Don't do that. Don't do this or something. Have you ever come across that any other situation?
All the time. Yes, I've met parents even that are like, "Oh, I love telling the coach what to do." Yeah, and so I mean, it's like realistically in customer service, which is basically what my job is too. Is like, yeah, people are gonna, I guess, insert themselves into what you do, and you just have to deal with it with grace and try your best to to
I bet you
deal with
can't say
that.
stuff you wanted to say.
Yeah, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It happens. Yeah. I still make it work. So, mhm.
No, I noticed that actually there are some parents that actually trying to tell the coaches. I see, I'm not gonna mention anywhere or where or what it is, and I see some parents like trying to come and tell coach, "Oh no, maybe try. Why don't you try him to do more of this, more?" I'm like, okay, I think that's coach's role. He worked on it. He knows the players better than
Yes.
like I know we are. I know as like a lot of parents wanted to do good for their kids. That don't get me wrong, like parents want best for their kids, but at the same time, with the knowledge that they see like on social media or the like best example is trick shots. They see a lot of trick shots and they want their kids to perform all the trick shots. And they don't see the fact of are they like useful in a real game or are they just like just hitting the shots? So that's where the line a lot of parents miss. I hail. So yeah, I mean every sport has these kind of things, situations for sure. Okay, so now is there any aspect of the coaching style that you emphasize on the kids, mainly in the badminton that as coming from a player you are, like what are some things that you emphasize more on coaching now? If like for your students or anyone that's getting trained with you.
Yeah. So I used to be a big advocate for like discipline, hard work. You know, with that whole like martial arts background, like that's what I tried to instill in the training. But recently, I've actually gone more towards selective empathy. So what selective empathy to me is like, okay, I want to like weave empathy into my coaching because like at the end of the day, I'm dealing with humans, so that I can build better relationships with them. And also, I'm also like trying to weave teamwork into it. And it's kind of weird, right? Like people think, okay, badminton's an individual sport. Why in the world would you even care about teamwork? But team culture is, to me, like one of the most important things about training.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's something I seen from you in person, like whenever. Like you had that bond with a lot of your students. That's something I personally noticed. With a lot of your students, I feel like they're not hesitant to like come up to you, reach out to you, and talk to you. Like this is like some students or as a like they're very scared to go back to coach. Like when I was getting some, it's very hard for me. Like, oh shit, okay, did I mess it up or okay? Like what am I gonna talk like? But I feel like you give that vibe to your students where like they're free to come out to you and reach out to you, which is such a good characteristic as a coach. I really think that's a good one. You can, yeah, developing that part of your coaching style. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice. Okay. So, what makes Malaysian, Indonesian, or Chinese coaching very different from North American coaching, like compared to like US or like Canada?
Yeah. I'm gonna put less filter on what I say. Okay. Compared to usual. Okay. If I put my customer service face on, the message won't come across. But honestly, the training here in North America, quote unquote, is softer than the training in Asia. In Asia, like the pure intensity of it is like many times more than here. And the coaching, and if you know Asian culture too, like a lot of times, like especially in Southeast Asia, they value truth and bluntness because you want to give your athletes the absolute truth. Because otherwise, how do they make informed decisions on how to improve? Whereas here, it's a little bit different. It's about like building confidence. It's about, you know, maybe slowing things down for them so that they can understand. And it's more positive. And obviously, both cultures have their pros and cons. In my coaching, I try to strike a balance. So
That is even when I was just had a what do you call it? I have a podcast with Nick. He was mentioning something similar to this, where the training compared to here versus when he was training in China or even in Malaysia or anything, it's very intense. Like they were trading whole day with less breaks. Like
yes,
intense, 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 intense right up. Like 1-on-2 against one person training, 2-on-1s, 2-on-1s. Like Sarah was like, I don't think we can do that here. I think students are gonna call like I'm out of this coach. He's abusing me or something.
yeah. Well, I had a friend that went to Malaysia. Yes. And he said, okay, for warm up, he had to run up and down a mountain. Oh, yeah. And then once you finish that run, your coach is standing at the bottom, and it's like, okay, let's actually get started now.
See, that is the part. That's why I hate coaches. They just sit at the bottom like run. But now I know how hard work they put towards the students, which is amazing as a coach point of view. Like, which not a lot of players see the behind work. They see their coach coming, you go into the coaching class, and I was like, oh, coach, let's do this isn't everything good. But coming back to the coaching style for Malaysian and Indonesian and everything, yeah, I did notice like a total different style of coaching in North American specifically. Like, it's very software, as you mentioned. Like, we don't do that kind of hard drills where you actually try to do put more emphasis on physical. If you get it, if you like anyone like for example bounce and they come in, they want to play more on the court, right? Like they'll be okay. I want to do more like more games or more. I want to play rather than get into the gym, work out, or do some running, cardio, because a game can last like an hour of intense rallies. Like you see like longest rallies, maybe like 50, 60 rallies. And then you just get what 30-second break in between. And that it goes that long. Yeah, you can achieve that in just playing on court like games. So that is something that as like a training that I feel like more parents and everyone kind of encourage that kind of style here. Yeah, it'll generate more and more talent here, which is as part of the coaching. So, what is your coaching ideology and philosophy?
That's a great question. Yes. I kind of spoke on it before. Okay. But I honestly tell my students this all the time. It's, do I even care that you become a good badminton player? Honestly, not that much. But what I care about the most is that you become a good person. And so that should translate into your badminton regardless. And so when a kid, shows a lack of effort or maybe shows complacency or something like that, I always try to relate it to their life. It's like, okay, if you are this close to the finish line and you decide to quit, like, what was the purpose of all the hard work you just did? And so that's essentially what my philosophy is centered around. And as hard as I can be with the kids, they see Coach Danny as mad that they can't do a smash instead of the Coach Danny that is mad that you're giving up, which could cause you to not reach your goals in the future. So
I think that's a really nice philosophy. I would say. I think you're not just trying to focus on badminton. You're just more also trying to build that personality into the kids. Mainly, that is usually a sport should be like a sportsmanship. That's best way to put it. Like badminton is something we all have that sportsmanship. You're looking at like when you're on the court shows when you're also off the court. That just goes on to it. All right. What initiatives or programs do you believe are essential for the badminton?
yeah, I have a couple of things in mind. The first thing is that there's basically a barrier of entry into badminton right now. If you want to be a competitive player, you have to put up the money. And so there's this huge untapped population, at least in Calgary that I know of, where tons of kids love badminton, but they don't have any access to training. So if we could have any type of outreach programs, that would be great. And also we need interclub play, more collaborative businesses too.
Yes.
Right? This probably isn't a secret to Calgarian badminton players, but there is a lot of drama within the badminton community.
Yes.
Or let's say in business.
Yeah.
But I think the collaboration, such as maybe starting an interclub league,
Yes.
will make even Albertan badminton be able to punch up above our leagues.
Yeah.
Right? We're always trying to chase down BC and Ontario.
Yes.
Yeah. And to do that, we have to work together. So
I think this is another topic that we discussed in previous or even is when you look at Alberta tournaments or total as in Canadian badminton, we have several provinces which are far from each other first thing, and players that are competing here traveling as you mentioned about the players that's spending for example costs, and that it puts a lot of toll on the players to compete far and go there and everything. But yeah, I think all having that provincial level and competing together, not just see it as a business part of it where they try to come as a clubs and as you mentioned inter clubs. I think that really build up the good badminton foundation.
definitely, yeah.
Yeah. I think that was actually the one we also talked about as off the court whenever we see the tournaments. While BC has several tournaments that's happening to be Island Opens and everything, and as in Alberta, you have the Alberta Series and junior tournaments, and I feel like there's a gap of tournaments that many players can play other than for the juniors. We're looking at the open side, so yeah, I think that's something I think there should be an outreach program, as you mentioned. If anyone's out there, should start that interclub tournaments so that the sport for badminton goes really having that. That's really nice. Yeah. Okay, who's your favorite badminton player?
If I were to pick of all time,
Okay.
I'm gonna be basic.
Okay.
Lee Chong Wei.
Oh my god. Why not Lindan?
Yeah, that's the other basic answer. Well, I always, I don't know what it is with me, but I always cheer for the underdog.
Okay.
I just love an underdog story. It just feels so much more satisfying when they win. Yeah, so that's why I naturally gravitate towards Lee Chong Wei.
Okay.
Obviously I love how he plays too.
He's one of the freaking amazing athlete. If you're not looking at the sport wise, just badminton itself, if you're comparing athletes, he's one of the physically fit athlete. Pursued all the way till I think he was 36, 37, but down. Was retiring. That was amazing. Only few in any sport, if you compare, only very few people that went that far. Like, for example, in tennis, we have Federer, Nadal, and like we have Lee Chong-wei and Lin Dan who pursued all the way about 35, 37.
Crazy.
That's just singles, and that's amazing for our badminton to have that players. So, what are some common mistakes you see players make, and how can they correct it?
Like within their technique, or just like generally speaking,
Generally
as an
speaking,
athlete.
yes.
Well, the first thing is taking care of their own body. Especially dealing with junior players, they're like, "Oh, I'm so young, my body's so good, like I can heal from this injury, no problem," and then they just make it worse. Yeah, or like they just eat horribly, and they're like, "Why do I have no energy for training?" And so taking care of your bodies is like absolutely huge. And then secondly is like not doing things that are difficult. Like what you mentioned before, like going to the gym, going for a run. Unfortunately, with badminton, like there is no like going around that. You can become a good player per se, but you're never going to be great unless you do the things that you don't want to do.
So, what do you like? This is a one, I'm not sure if it's a misconception around the juniors. Like, every junior that I talk to, they're like, you should hit the gym. They're like, no, I don't want to become big, or I don't want to lift weights. I feel like it's going to, like, is it real? Like, coming from your athletic therapist thing, is that okay for juniors to like do weight training, like, and a minimal, or like completely like, oh, they're just scared, like they don't want to do it?
Yeah, so there's like plenty of scientific evidence that you can weight train at any age and it will have no negative effects on you. Like the biggest misconception is like, oh, if I lift weights, it'll stunt my growth. There is nothing that shows that will happen. As long as you're, like if you're under 16, I believe, as long as you have some type of adult like supervision to make sure that it's safe, anyone can benefit from weight training.
I think, yeah, this is one of the biggest misconception or the badminton juniors. This is what I hear from most of the players is that, yeah, I don't want to weight train. I'd rather like just do some more drills or whatever. But that's where the sport of badminton getting more injuries now, as players are pushing hard. Don't get me wrong, the players are like, I will do an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours of coaching on the court, but you need the strength in your like your physical, right?
Yeah.
Like you could do cardio all along, but you also need that strength to generate the energy of your muscles or your bones or whatever it is. Yeah, that I'm not sure 100% to say it. If it's a misconception, now that you said it,
Yeah.
that cares out for most players. Like it is good.
Yeah, it's 100% true. Like I see badminton as like a hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you've seen like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but at the bottom level, the foundation to me is like fitness. Without fitness, you cannot do anything else. Everything else will crumble if the foundation isn't there. And on top of that, like physical literacy. So I've been coaching for so long now. I feel like with every year that passes, kids become less and less physically literate.
Like I totally agree on you. Plus, I'm also kind of used to be against the physical fitness. I'm taking the blame for it. I used to be like, I'll just on the court training. I'll do 10 drills, half an hour, 2 hours. Go to do weight training, and I'm like, no, please. I don't want to do lift weights. I don't want to carry weights. It seems painful. I don't want to put my body through. But I met one of my friends. Alex, like from Vancouver. Like he helped me out with some like just trade small routine, like nothing like basic squats and like deadlifts and like friend squats. Like he's like, just do this. After that, it really helped me on the court. Like when I first started, it really hurt. Like I couldn't play the next day or the other day or whatever it is, rest, whatever you call it. And then after I took a break from it and I came back onto the court, the game that I played was like I was not tired first thing to begin with. Like I got like good. I could move around court very fluid. Like very good. So that's my personal example for me. Avoiding a gym. And I'm like, okay. Okay, so I have to go to the gym then.
Yeah, I mean, like fitness doesn't have to be like hard, right? Like so many kids don't even know how to throw a ball nowadays. You know, so like, and a badminton swing is a throwing motion. So I tell the kids like, hey, like you can grab a ball and throw it at the wall for 5 minutes a day, and that can be part of fitness because that's coordination. So yeah, baby steps.
Nice. What kind of drills do you do with the training? When it comes to the physical, do you have like any physical things that you do right now?
I'm not gonna give away too many like secrets, but uh, I do have a foundation of like obviously there's cardio training, like that's a non-negotiable, and then strength, definitely lower body strength, core strength, shoulder strength for injury prevention, and also helps with power production actually. But yeah, those are like the foundational fitness things that I focus on. Yeah.
I think that should be every coach following that, have that basic, making sure to tell the students that they should have the physical foundation, which if they encourage it, will avoid a lot of injuries during a tournament, I feel.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, how important is the mental preparation in badminton? And how can players improve their mental game?
I think mental preparation is like 50% of badminton. Um, and to improve their game, like mental game, I guess there's really like two aspects you can think about it, right? There's like psychology, like game psychology. Can you understand your opponent's psychology and manipulate it? And then there's the mental game, as in, can you regulate yourself? Um, the most effective way without like getting specific instruction on how to do it is just do tournaments. The more you compete, the more you'll understand. And I wish I could say like there is like, a golden rule or like a magic wand I could wave where you'll stop being nervous, but there's no such thing. You just have to go out and do it.
I feel like that is the badminton, like this is the best comparison like most badminton players can relate to. Badminton is like a chess. Like, and I'm sure I hear that from quite a lot of people saying like, it's a mental game. Like 50%, you have to be like, or even more. Some in some situations where you're when there are like players at equal level physical matches with you, whoever has that strong mentality gets that game. So yeah, I feel like train the mental game, as you said. I think playing more and more tournaments, and even just taking that initiate to go into the tournament, because most people are like scared to even sign up for it.
Yes.
Like, oh man, I don't want to go in and then lose, and I can't just show my face to everyone. I know players actually who hates losing. Like they're like, I only play if I know that I'm gonna win that tournament. I'm like, dude, it's not all about winning. It's also about the experience. Like, if you're a person that wins, right? For example, and how are you gonna learn? Like, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm just good. I can just win a tournament, right? That I feel like that losing pushes most people, as I would say, to encourage them to get further into the sport, or either could tell you they'll just completely stop playing that.
Yeah, I guess it's definitely like a character trait that you just have to have. Like if you're scared of losing, it's gonna limit you in literally everything that you do, like badminton aside. Um, yeah, like if you ask any good player that you maybe look up to or whatever, it's like, okay, how did you start your like competitive journey? Well, it's like, okay, I spent a year just losing. That's all I did was lose,
Oh, bad.
you know? And so like on top of that too, it's like, okay, yeah, let's take our mind away from the winning, but okay, I need the experience. How can I think more deeply about that? And I always talk to my students about there's depth of thinking, right? Like you can go and experience losing, but why did you lose? What needs to be better? What did you learn about yourself? Right? Like all the deeper you can go and the chain of whys, like why did I lose? Because of this. Okay, why did I do that? Because of this. Just keep asking why until you get to the root cause.
That's really nice and excellent to hear that. Like, I think why is always sometimes there's always ask yourself, actually get your results actually, even without having to someone tell you. It's like, okay, yeah, that's the best way. Is that what you tell your students whenever they come out of losing the tournament? It's like, okay, why? There's something else that you actually cheer them up with. No, it's okay. You'll do better next time.
It really depends. It's like if they performed well and did their honest best, usually I'm pretty positive. I give them encouraging words like, hey, like I help them reflect on it. Sometimes I interrogate them. I mean, it really depends, like reading the student, how, like, what their personalities are like. Can they deal with hard criticism? If so, I'll lay it on them. Um, yeah, I'm pretty unapologetic about that, to be honest.
Okay. Hopefully, you don't tell them to like you lost. Now go do the 10K on the treadmill.
Yeah, I don't do that now.
Okay. Would you do it though?
I probably would. I probably would if I had all the power. Yes.
Okay. How can a player stay motivated without getting burnout, like getting tired of like playing or training and all that stuff? I think they can stay motivated.
I think what's important is like finding out what your why is. Like, why do you compete? Why do you train? And again, it comes down to like the depth of thinking. It's like, oh, why? It's because I want to win tournaments. Like, no, why? Like, what is that deep thing that like makes your passion spark? Right? Like for me, it was I had a lack of resources. I had a lack of guidance. For me, I wanted to prove to myself that I could conquer things regardless of whether I'm disadvantaged or not. And I wanted to prove to myself that I could make it to a certain point. And so that deeper why will always guide you. And if you ever lose kind of sight of that, think back to it. And it also doesn't hurt to find joy again. Like do something that makes you find badminton fun again. You know, like sometimes I have a league that it's called a league, but it's really just drop in play. But all my friends are in there. And do they take badminton as seriously as me? No. But it makes me so happy to be in that like league, and it honestly makes me feel so alive that I like thrive on that high for the whole week until I go the next week.
Feel that is where you call it. It's yeah, having that like that you said, like playing with friends sometimes, like taking things a bit lighter, definitely helps you relax. Just get back your spark here. I feel like every athlete goes through that phase where they feel like, what am I doing this for? Like, why am I doing this? But yeah, thinking back and ask yourself, why did you even start in to begin with? And that is really, and nowadays, as you mentioned, like, yeah, I know there are times like if you look back like 10 years ago, as you said, we don't have that many, like if you look like 10, 15 years ago, you look at like we don't have that many resources like to even like now if you look at if you search for badminton, like there are so many tutorials on how to make a shot, how to do this, how to do this, how to looking back like dial back like 15 years ago. Like, yeah, there's literally like so many few people, and then you can't even see like when you watch a badminton game on the TV or something, it's hard to even follow. Like, okay, you don't see the angles properly. I mean, till today we still have Badminton Canada. Hopefully they'll or even BWF. Hopefully they'll improvise on it. Yeah, the angle is very different, and you also have so many resources now and at an advantage for most players not developed, which is amazing. Okay, so what is your badminton memory as a coach and also a player? Oh, I don't know, both. Okay.
So as a coach, man, like I don't have anything specific. There wasn't some big grand events that, I remember so fondly, but it's more of like those intimate moments with parents and students where they show like their appreciation, whether it's just through like a parent just sending me a simple text message telling me about how much impact I've had on their kids or whatever. Like those I hold a lot more dearly than like a kid winning a gold medal. Although that's great, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a player, man, geez, it's like the same thing. It's like I never chased like results. I never chased results. I always chased a feeling. And like the feeling I remember the most was like when I played my best, it's like the most freaking addictive feeling I could ever get. And whether I win or lose, like, geez, that doesn't matter at the end of the day. To me, at least. To me.
No, I could totally relate. I think this is the personality trait that maybe a lot of people has it too. So where there is a game that I could just lose, but I feel like I did so better and I'm so happy regardless of the result. And there are times that you win, but you feel like, oh, I just won it. I feel like the high that I get from playing really good, like a controlled game on a court, versus winning a game. Actually, the high for me is always controlling the whole game and play all the shots that I wanted to play. Like, okay, I want to play this shot. I played. I want to play that shot. It worked out perfect. Results, yeah, doesn't it? I didn't really give it that much of a high end results for me. It's always that what do you call it? Behind like always seeing what I did. Did I do perfectly with what I learned, what I did, what I should do? So yeah, that is one of the best feeling that I can get. So I could totally relate from that. So yeah. And one more, like I know like we all go through the phase of like losing the games and everything. But is your how do I say? What is your way of like coming out of it? Like when you lost the tournaments or several tournaments, like there must be players like who competed like 6, 7 tournaments up and they lost all of them, right? And what do you suggest for them to how do they think they will come out of it? Like that streak and also not to give up on that tournament like free of like now that's scared of it. So what do you think? What do you tell them? Like what do you think? What did you do?
Yeah, this is a hard question to answer given how different people are. Like it takes a very specific person to take continuous losses and be like, okay, next one. At the end of the day, it's like understanding, okay, are results really under your control? Like, no, someone could at 21-20 net roll you and you lose the game. You can't do anything about that.
Yes, I cannot, other than breaking rackets.
Yeah. So like realistically, what can you control? It's how you respond to it. And that's what I usually tell my students. Like, okay, you lost. Fine. The world's not gonna end. Okay, no one's gonna remember by next week. Right? But what you learn from it is what actually matters. So yeah.
I always tell players that look at Lee Chong Wei. He's the best example. Like he never gets down. He never gives up. He wants to go. He goes for every single tournament he plays. Gives his best regardless of when that's playing, who's playing, no one. He just did. He did Olympics 3 times, and he still would have done it again, even if it is. That's the motivation like a lot of players should have. Never to give up on anything. Like I mean, it's not just sport in anything, right? It just becomes in your personal life as well. You don't want to give up on just because you fail in something. Like as you said, no one's gonna remember. It's yourself. You have to tell yourself in the future. Like I mean, as also like one of the best examples in previous Nick, he tried to compete for the he what do you call it? Did for the Rio Olympics and he couldn't get in. Like I mean, that's a devastating feeling. And he stuck out of it and he still went back playing and he never gave up. So and he never had regrets now. That's what he mentioned. Feel like I don't have any regrets now. I did. I compete. I tried and I did all the way. I went all the way. I did everything and I don't have regrets. I'm like, yeah, that's hard to say for most people, I would say. I did everything that I could. And yeah, so that's good. So, what is the most technical skill a beginner can learn?
Footwork. Footwork is, at least in my opinion, probably the hardest thing to learn in badminton, right? Because your footwork can always be more efficient, can always be more powerful, can always be faster, can always be smoother. So that's highly technical. If I were to pick one thing that like beginners cannot forget to work on is their grips. There are so many kids that I've coached now that have progressed to, let's say, intermediate or advanced levels, but they can't switch from forehand to backhand grip. Some of them don't even know what it is. Some don't know what a neutral grip is. So having those fundamentals, if you have those, you're ahead of most of the game nowadays, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is something that I noticed with a lot of recreational players is holding the racket, like the grip style, as you mentioned. Either I've seen players choke it like all the way to the top, or just what's the grip called? Like they just hold it flat. Yeah, the way that hit
And oh yeah.
yeah, back.
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's like Like I could change. I think that's the one thing. As you said, gripping definitely is the one of the critical skill that most the people that's coming into the court has to learn before it does footwork actually.
Well, if you think about it too, like footwork, if you have good footwork, that prevents injury. If you have correct grip, that prevents injury.
Yes. So you don't have to worry too much about moving too much to the left all the way or right all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think when I was a kid, like when someone was teaching me this is a very old technique where you just hold to the wall and you just do this just to get the grip right. That's all. That's all he was teaching the kids and all of us. Like for do that 600 times, 700 times, 800 times. Like, dude, you're driving me crazy. I'm not on this all day. I guess. Yeah, I think the grip plays a really important role in that skill wise. So what do you tell like your students when they're playing a tournament? Right? How can they stay mentally focused during the tournament? Talking off the court, like when they're in the game during that 11-point break or 20 was in between the set. How do you think they can stay focused? What is something that you tell or advise them to do?
Yeah. Oh man, there's so much. Well, first thing is like, are you preparing for the match correctly? Like, are you warming up? Do you have that pregame routine that you've developed on your own? If we're talking like in the middle of the match, there's like immediately three things that come to mind. Like specifically to junior players, this happens a lot. Is when they lose focus, they seek external validation. So when something goes wrong, they look out to the crowd, mom, dad, coach, help me. Yes. They give you that look. Yes. But if they can focus on problem solving, and now this kind of transcends to like any level. Okay. If you have a problem solving oriented mindset, you will not lose your focus because you're always thinking, okay, I lost that point. Why? What can I fix on the next one? Yes. So you throw your emotions aside, you think about how to actually fix this puzzle. And so that's like my number one piece of advice. Yeah.
That's good. I think most Nick, I think that is the one thing they look up to most players during the up court match. And this is also one thing that I saw most international players follow is the coaches come up and they just listen. Like players are just think I'm not sure if, who I got it from. Like the Asian style of coaching style. If it is a mixed doubles player, it's always the woman that just tells the men like, okay, do this, and Hannah just listens. And then if the singles player, still always coach comes up to it, and then I was like, okay, you're doing this, you're doing that, push it more, and the players, okay. Like there is no like it's like how they were trained is like they just get to listen and follow it exactly to what the coach said. So like a lot of the young players that like they just in the confusion was up to their lost or they was like, okay, coach, what should I do? What should I do? That's not working. I feel like because when we're on the as a player, like as we once you're on the court, it's hard to see. Like because you're in that zone, like your brain doesn't function as you think it is because now you're playing fast and everything and the oxygen level is going down. Brain does not function properly and say, okay, get off. The coach, okay. Now the coach who's seeing it, other than that's the best part of it. I like having a coach. So, but as you said, like, well, not a lot of the kids these days have the coaching coming on the side. It could be like also traveling, biggest part. You can't take your coach to all your games. If you're competing in Toronto, can't take your coach with you because it's gonna be cost efficient. Plus, the coach has other kids of training or so many other things, which is a big thing for a lot of students when they go by themselves and look up to the coach side and there's no coach. I'm like, okay. So I think a lot of people will take your advice and just focus on why, and that should be good. All right. What are some strategies for dealing with the nervous and anxiety during term? Like, what do you say other than like the pre-game workouts or like anything other than that? Do you recommend any other things that can calm your nerves?
Yeah. Well, I mean, so like, what is nervousness really? Like, to be more specific, it's anxiety, right? So anxiety taking on a more like negative connotation, right? Like, I am going to lose because the demands of this tournament exceeds the resources that I have, meaning my skill, my fitness, my coaches, right? the environment, I might be at a disadvantage somehow. And so now, how do we actually fix that anxiousness? It's okay. Well, first thing is, how can we reconstruct it in our head, right? Like, so stress being, like I said, was it demands over resources, like too much demand for the resources you have. Okay, so take down the demand. What is your goal was to win? Okay, well, take that away, right? Maybe your goal is to learn now. Your goal is to learn, and then think about your resources. Did I actually prepare the best I could? And if you slacked off when you were training, well, I mean, you only have but yourself to blame. Yes. But if you did prepare with all your heart, then like really, okay, so the resources should be up here and the demand you can bring down. And so you can bring it to a point where like your anxiety becomes more of a healthy nervousness, a healthy stress in a way.
That's nice way to put it, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you think? I mean, there are situations like, as I said, there is that 21-20 point, like, or 21-20 game. Like, how do you think players can control that emotions of not to give into that losing point? Like, what do you suggest, or what do you think?
Yeah.
What do you recommend that?
There are some principles when it's that close, right? Like there's some like psychological like warfare stuff going on when that happens. I don't know if you want me to spill all of the tea for that, but
I mean, you could just say some. I mean, there are students out there.
Yeah. Okay, without giving out too much information, I like to stress the idea of a plan.
Okay.
When it's really close,
Yes.
everything matters. So before your opponent serves or before you serve, your plan for the next couple of shots, you should have already decided.
Yes.
Right? If he's 21-20 up and he's serving towards me, I'm going to push to his forehand side and look to attack any of the straight shots.
Okay.
Like that plan usually works quite a bit because like the opponent's thinking the same thing. Oh, I'm nervous. What do I do? And they're not even thinking about like what they're going to do, like what their plan is, what they want to execute. And if you are doing that, you're already at an advantage, even if there's a skill difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes a big difference actually in an upcoming game as well. That's what I noticed. So if you ever run a 21-20 and if you actually win that game, I noticed that either the person that won the game kind of eased off, and now I feel like if you're opposite person, now you picked up, okay, now I just lost the first set all in all. So it comes in to the fact of like, okay. And then once you get that point, I'm like, yeah, and now I have to play these 3 sets, which have to be on. It's like, okay. So it's like a psychological thing. I feel like everyone that has that disadvantage of it doesn't, I don't mind playing 3 games, or I'm used to it, or something like that. I feel like that's more so this is I'm not sure if you notice any of the games. There's this myth or reality, I'm not sure. Most of the games, Lindan ever reaches 11. Most games you won. Okay, he reaches 11. If you ever, that's an 11. Or if you know the player that he can go 3 rounds with or something. These are all total like that I read through online, or some fans pointing it out or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are some things to watch out. Like he doesn't might play 3 games. He doesn't care. Like he just had the stamina. He just plays for it. Feel like developing that mentality of like, I can finish 3 games. It's fine. Feel like that kind of helped me in the past where I was like, it's okay. I got energy for it. Even if I lose 21-22-20, I'm good. I'll take him to the third game. So that was an amazing experience for me to feel before. Like, how did you control? Like, have you ever been in that situation?
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. Did you ever like break your rackets or something? Or oh no, okay.
No. I've been honestly in competition. I've actually never been really that frustrated in myself. It's weird. Like I can be so frustrated during training.
Yeah.
But in competition, it's like it kind of leaves my mind to be even frustrated at myself. Now, do I care about like where I went wrong and stuff? Like absolutely, of course, right? But I take it more objectively. Yeah, so happens all the time, to be honest. Yeah.
Like that's for me, it's the other way around. I get frustrated a lot on the court sometimes. And who are I just like I would just step off the court. I learned this one habit from one of the guy that's been playing for a while. So just to like whenever you feeling like it, step off the court, forget you're playing badminton. Think of something else, come back onto the court and play your game. Like it doesn't want to work for everyone. There are people that focused and everything. For me, it kind of helped me out, kept the mind up the whole thing, came back with a fresh perspective of the game. So like that is a one thing that I learned from some other players that did just me on like how do we get out of it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was an amazing.
I mean, it's like throughout the years, like in the past, I'd get pretty angry.
Yes.
But I've learned to control. I found, for me at least, it's a slippery slope. The second I get angry, it gives me more momentum to get more angry. And then it's just like a downward spiral until I'm absolutely fuming. And so to like control my emotions and to check myself before that happens, that has helped me a lot. There's actually like a sports psychology technique called thought cancellation. So whenever you have like a negative thought, it could be literally any word, any phrase that you can say out loud or say in your head that should cancel the thought. Okay, so for example, if I'm going, oh man, I'm so angry that I missed that kill last point.
Yes.
For me, my thought cancellation phrase is rack it up.
Okay.
So in my head, I say that, and then that's me basically throwing away that last thought. So I cancel that thought so that I go into this next rally like ready to play.
That is really good. Well,
Yeah.
so that's nice. But there's one more thing that I want to ask is, I go to what do you recommend for a diet before a tournament? Like for anyone that's competing heavily, like a tournament player. So do you recommend any kind of diets that they can go through before the game?
Like pre-tournament, like meals preparation type of thing.
Meal, and also like during the games, like if there is some recommendation for players who are competing by themselves without any coaches that probably need some advice on.
Yeah. So like drawing back from my education,
Okay.
there's like a misconception that carb loading is actually effective.
Yes.
When, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't looked into the research for a long time. But carb loading actually only helps people if you're running like a marathon. If you're doing super long cardio type of stuff, it will help. But what's the most effective for a badminton player is just having like a well-balanced meal that avoids acidic foods, oily or greasy foods, and spicy foods. So those three things can cause things like acid reflux.
Okay.
Yeah.
Feel like it's hard to avoid the spicy food though. But now I think, what about the during the game time, like just before the game time, and also, and sometimes, okay, this is a tournament thing, right? You have long breaks in between the tournaments. Sometimes we have a game in the morning, and there's a game in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Like in between, like that whole gap. What are some things players can do? Like, and they like, what are the stretches or what are the food that and what do you recommend?
Yeah. Similar to before, really. The most important thing for a badminton tournament is making sure that your carb intake is up, because you're building up like these carbs and these like glycogen stores, and after every match they've depleted. So you have to replenish them pretty regularly. During a match, it really is up to the player. But as long as you're getting hydrated, you're getting your electrolytes. So that's like, your salts, your potassium, all that stuff. And then also your, once again, carbs.
Yes.
Usually in a game, you want your carbs in like a sugar form because it goes into your blood faster and it gets digested faster. So that's what I would recommend. So for me, like I always bring a Gatorade.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and this is actually from Djokovic, like one of the tennis players that I saw. Like he actually uses dates as in he does, like some players, but most of the athletes that I see, banana. It's the best, like for it has like a high potassium, I think, and you also have like sugar intake that you needed. It helps a lot of athletes that they use it. So that is actually I aspect like electrolytes are very important. And I learned the hard way. So there is a tournament that I played and I was playing singles, and so I'm used to not eating before the tournament because the early morning 9 o'clock turns and don't eat it because I feel like I don't know some reason I don't eat. So and I went onto the court and I couldn't get focused. So I was like, okay, the best bet for me is sugar, and I went and grabbed Coke. And when I freaking chunks, I was like, yeah, hyper it up, and I got on the court, started playing half the game. I crapped up. Yeah, that was the worst feeling. So next time I learn electrolytes, no sugars, no diet coke, nothing,
Yes.
because it gives me cramps.
Yes. Yes. Before competition, you want to be eating a full meal, like 2 to 4 hours before your first game in the morning.
I think that is the one. My friend, I wasn't. Yeah, there is a tournament. I was in finals, and I'm like, I don't have energy. I just has to cut. Like yeah. He told because I think it's also the number of games we play. So I was competing both men's doubles and singles, both mixed doubles, and all of it. So thought I could do it. I always tell my friends. I think most people that know me, I'll say the word. I have reserves, and they say, okay. And then I always end up flat schemes. Like, okay, I'm retired. I can't push it too hard. I don't want to get injured. And so, yeah, I think having that balance me was really helpful tip. I should have learned long time ago. If I watched this podcast in the past, I would have learned. So for future, guys, for future. All right, that's all from me. Dan, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate you coming in and chatting with me.
Yep.
Thanks.
Thank you.